Okay, welcome to Bitrix Live. I'm Damien Edwards, Commercial Manager of Bitrix24 Partners Interface. We are based in the UK and we have, as you can see on the screen there, offices in the UK and, in the US also and Dubai. We provide all pre-sales support, an implementation service including customization and training of Bitrix24, and we provide a telephone support service as well. We're Bitrix24 Gold Partners. We're focused solely on implementation of Bitrix24. We don't sell any other products, so we're the experts to talk to if you're considering a new project management, CRM or collaboration platform. With me, I've got our support manager, Andy Naylor.
Hi there. So through this session we are going to take your questions and answer them live on screen. We're here for the next hour and we're here every Thursday at 10 AM Eastern Time. Recommended to subscribe to the Bitrix24 YouTube channel and you'll get a notification that we've gone live. So do please ask us any questions that you may have in the box provided on YouTube. If you do have any questions throughout the week, email us to live@intraface.com and we can start each session as the session warms up on those questions. So do please put those questions in that box and we can answer them as we go along.
Okay, do we have a question through on email?
Yeah, so we've had a couple of questions through. One of the questions that came through recently was to do with the duplication and the merging of existing leads, and it also reflects on contacts and companies as well. So there is a great duplication control in Bitrix24 CRM. So I'm in the cloud version here, so we are going to answer questions on whether you're using the cloud version of Bitrix or the on-premise version of Bitrix. We have a couple of versions on the screen here. So the question was, how can you merge the data that you have on the CRM? So it may be that you have multiple contacts that you've added and you have a few of the same contacts. So in our case, I've got the leads, so we may have a few of the same leads. And all you need to do is go to the cog icon here, click in duplicate control, and what that's going to give you is going to give you a list. We don't have any. Let's have a look if we have it in here. I think we have on our. In fact, I'll go to. I know we have some on our on-premise site. So let's go into our leads here and click into the gear icon. Click into duplicate control, and you can see here. So at the moment, what this is saying that there is currently 5 duplicates. And if we open up one of these, we can actually see the duplicates that are in the system. And based on this, you can see there's 5 matches for the company interface, and we have all these details in here. Now,
that's because we're searching by company name, so they're not necessarily duplicates, are they?
No.
So, yeah.
So it may be that if we add just for the phone number, it may not pull up anything that is the same. In fact, we've got quite a lot. So if we open up this one, for example, you can see that we have a lead and both leads, aren't they, actually? So essentially what you can see is that the duplicates that are in the system, and if you wanted to merge those duplicates, it's just a simple case of clicking and clicking on merge there, and that will then essentially merge them. So it may be, like I say, you've done an import and you have quite a lot of duplications in your import, so you can come to this section, duplicate control, and then see.
So this is a new tool, isn't it? Duplicates are checked for when you add a new record in the CRM, but being able to go back and...
I think the good thing about this is it's the capability to merge them.
Yeah.
So if we wanted to let's just say, for example, these two...
And you can merge more than one, so
yeah.
then you can merge a whole group.
So you can merge them, and what that will do is it will essentially remove this duplicate from the system and merge it into the parent company here. So they will then be one, in this case, lead system.
Yeah, that's good. So these are all the sort of tools that you should be looking for if you're buying a CRM. These are the sort of really important tools that help you manage your data in the CRM.
Yeah, I think that's really good if you do have because another one of the questions that leads really on from this is we commonly get asked about how we do imports into the system. So if you're buying data or you have an export from another CRM in CSV format, it's a simple case of going into the area where you would like to import, clicking on here, and then clicking on Import Custom CSV. And we could do an import via that method. And then again, you can see here in the contacts, we have the same duplicate control method. So you can ensure all that data is clean when you start in CRM.
Yeah, and with the self-hosted version, we do a lot of syncing of data, especially contact data, with finance or an ERP system. So there is a full API with the self-hosted that allows you to create some integration. So that it might be that actually you do store your contacts in your finance package or ERP or something like that, and you manage duplicates and the contact information in there, and you just want to sync it in, and we do quite a lot of work on that. So I think it would need the self-hosted to be able to do that, but there's different options around how you manage keep your data up to date for your prospects and contacts. We had a question in about lists. So somebody's created a list, and they can see where to add a new item on a list, or add a new list item, but they can't edit a list. So let's have a look at lists and see how options you have. Services. So lists actually exist within each work group, and you have a standalone lists section within your services section. And let's go into this one here, safety records. So you can, yeah, you're right, you have an add button, so I can click on the add button and I can create a new record here. How do I edit one of these? You've got an action button, not in there. But if actually click on the name, it should bring it up, so you can then edit the content of it. So it's that simple, really. I think if I look in here, you've got an edit as well. Sometimes we'll run a process where this presents a form. If you want to add some more information into a list item, we'll build it into a process where you can use a process here, click on the process, it presents you with a form, and you can complete that, and then it will merge that data into the new list item. So it is a case of, it might be that you've not used the name field, or your name field is just a number and you can't actually see that is actually a link, but it is a link. That's the way you click in. But then as always with these, if you click in the hamburger symbol there, then you've got your options to do that there.
I think whilst we're in lists, it's just a good point to note on here. If we just go back into let's go back into the services section and click on lists, and let's just open up another tab as well. So if we go into the CRM as well, one of the common questions that we get is, how can I add a new tab into our section here? So we've got a lot currently in here. We could probably do with decreasing the amount, but essentially to get a new tab up here is going to relate to this lists module here. So I saw that we have one of the common ones, but if you manage a lot of websites, if your customers have a lot of websites, and you click into the websites list here, you can see that we have a number of different fields that are useful: website, renewal date, URL. But when you're creating a new list, if you have a field that binds to a company, so let's just take a look at how we do that. Click into customize fields, and let's have a look at this company field. The type of this field is bind to CRM items. And what that allows you to do, it allows you to select what you want to bind it to. In our case, we're going to display, we want to add entries to a company, to add websites associated to that company. So we've got the company selected here. So that's the first thing that you would need to do. And once you've done that, it will essentially attach the list to every company. So you can see here we have a website tab. And you can see the same information we got in the list, but it's associated to just this company. And the good thing about this is if I click on add website, and let's just say we have a new URL of intraface.co.uk instead of .com, and we'll have a renewal date of October the 24th. You can see it's automatically bound it to TechCo. If I click on save, then you can now see that I'm still in TechCo as a company in the CRM. It's taking me straight back to the company, and we now have 2 entries in this particular list. And because I added the website from this button, it automatically bound it to TechCo. If I was to go into Green Van Man, go into websites, you can see there's no entries here. If I was to add a website here, and then we'll give it an expiration date of the 9th of March. You can see again it's automatically associated it to it. You can then see now in Green Van Man we have 1 entry.
Okay, I've got a question. So on this theme with website and website renewals, could we create a process to automatically send an email or to send an email based on clicking here and running a process?
So you couldn't,
really useful.
Yeah, you couldn't run a process from this. However, you couldn't run a process from this location, I don't think.
You have to go into the main list.
Yeah, but what you could do is
do it automatically. Can you do it based on the date though?
I think you can. I think if you went into, so in a list item you have the ability to add workflows. So you click onto configure workflows and we'll click in here. And then when added, so that'll start triggering off and we can go renewal date. And then what we will need to do is,
we're sending them an email.
Yeah. So
but, yeah, can we do it from the renewal date?
I'm not sure you can.
Yeah. We need to
I think what you would need, I think what you would probably have to
maybe just do it as a manual process. Just
yeah, you could
drop the email.
You could what you could do is you could probably create a task. I'm just trying to think of using the standard methods. We could always create a renewal email. I'm just trying to think if we could
create
use
a task for that date.
Yeah, so what you could do is you could have a deadline of element field website renewal date here. So you could have, and then we could say renew, and then we can grab the website address. So we should have website URL. So renew, and then we could assign the responsible person who's associated with that. We could even have a work group that's called website renewals, and all the tasks get bound to that particular one, and you'll be able to see in a Kanban view of where those deadlines we're going to reach for that.
Could we? I mean, you could also probably do something like thinking of an approval or something based on that date. Could we bring the date in?
I think you would. Yeah.
I'm thinking about sending an email or something out based on that date, if it's approved on that date. It'd be good if you could send the email out automatically, wouldn't it? Kind of a week before or on that date or something. I think you could do it. But
I think what you would need to do is you would need to do a little bit of code, so you could then count how many days there is till the renewal date, minus 10 days, and then get the sending out date.
Okay, we've got another question about binding. So, is it possible to add more than one responsible person for a company? It is. So let's go into the CRM, leave that. go into a company and open up this company. So each record, whether it's a company or contact, quote, lead, deal, has a responsible. So it's assigned to a user on the system. Usually be the account manager in the company record for that particular business. Might be that actually have a kind of support contact as well that's responsible for that business, and you want to add them in here. You can do that by creating a custom field. We can do it, we can do it in here, add field. See if we can do it here. Additional fields. Okay, so we have to go into the main section. So if we click on additional fields, it takes us into the area where we can make custom fields. If we select from the type bind to user, and we're going to call it support contact. And we can make it a required field if necessary, but that's it. So we're creating a field support contact. We're going to bind it to a user, which means you'll need to select an actual live user of the system. Let's just refresh that and select the field. Here's the field we've created, support contact, and it now allows us to select a user, save that. So we have bound to Harriet here and titled it support contract. So if we want to search then by how many contacts Harriet has, see if hopefully the field's available in here. Should be, I think. Support contact allows us to use that as a search. If I select Harriet in here, then it will give us one company. Here we are. So yeah, so it's quite simple to create a custom field. If we go into there, then it's quite straightforward also. Let's just check whether we're on switch to common form view, switch to my. So we're on common form view at the moment, which means that I'm seeing the standard view that everyone else sees. I'm an administrator. You can see I've got this admin bar at the top, so I'm the admin on this site. So if I make any changes on this, if I make any changes and click set form view for all users, then it'll be reflected. So I just want to move this field up a little bit. I'm going to move it up there so it sits underneath the responsible person, and then if I go to the top, set for all users, then everyone will see that new field that I've created. So I guess there's no point just create a field, you need to make sure that it's displayed correctly and visible to other users. But that's how you do it. There's our contact details. So we're Bitrix24 partners. Get in touch with us if you need a demo. If you have Bitrix already and want some customization or training or support, contact us on our email, sales@intraface.com, or one of the telephone numbers over there. Post your questions onto YouTube.
I think this is a question, but like I see fields in contact card. So if you're in a contact, let's go and jump into a contact here. You can always, if you associate a deal to a contact, you can always click on the deals tab at the top and you'll be able to see all deals associated to that particular contact.
Yeah, when you create a deal or a quote or something, you can associate it to a company and or a contact, can't you, I think, so depending on how you work. Some businesses only work with contacts and not with companies. Yeah.
Yes, but I mean associated leads. Yeah, so leads is a little bit different. With a lead, you can associate, you kind of basically tag it to an existing contact or company, but the main reason why you would have a lead is generally a new inquiry into the system, because the whole purpose of having leads in here is to qualify them through a series of different stages with the end goal of converting them automatically from the data that's in the particular lead to a contact in a company, and then, or a contact a company in a deal, and make that opportunity then associated to that contact or company. There is no tab to show all the leads that are outstanding against that particular company or contact. What you should do is once you convert the initial lead into a company, because you qualified them, then use the deals as those potential opportunities rather than using the leads.
Yeah, absolutely. You can, if we click into CRM mode, you can disable leads. So in the classic mode, which is default mode, you have leads, deals and contacts, which is deals and contacts, no leads. So it's not appropriate. I had a conversation with a company that is a broker for aeroplanes. They sell about three planes a year, I think. They have a small number of clients who really need to use leads. They're not capturing lots of new inquiries. So in that case, if they get a new inquiry, they add it as a company, it stays in the system. Really, leads are there to be there for that qualification stage. And there's a lot of tools inside Bitrix that allow you to capture leads from different sources, incoming emails and phone calls, chat message on Facebook, etc., etc. So it's useful in that way that it's very simple to capture that information. I guess the other thing is, though, if you add in a lead, then if I click on to add, it presents me with one form, so I can add in the...
I think we've just got a question just about this form. So we've got using Bitrix24 free, would like to know how to fill the overwhelming form to add a new lead. So
yeah, overwhelming, then you probably just want to get rid of some of these fields. I mean, my point I was going to make was that I can add in my company name, the person's name, their person's email address in one form. I can save it and then convert that, and it will create a contact, a company record, a deal record. If I wasn't using leads, then you'd have to create those records separately and take more time. So you might be use leads just because it's quicker. But the question about overwhelming, how do I fill it out? You just need to decide on which fields you need. I've got a big box here called source information, which is probably a custom field we've made. But you know, if you don't need these, you can hide them. If it's a custom field, you can go in and delete that field altogether. So
I think that's it. I think you need to really get rid of the fields that you don't need. So obviously Bitrix comes with a range of standard, like maybe you don't want date of birth. Click on the gear icon and click on hide. It won't delete it. You can always pull it back at a later date. But make these, so it might be, like I say, you might only want the lead name, first name, last name, phone number and email. So just remove them. It makes it a little bit less overwhelming with everything that you need to populate, and then even delete the sections. Create your own sections here. You can click on add new section, and you can delete an existing section in here. So
you can rename these sections as well, yeah, to what you want.
So I think you can really tailor it towards what when you're populating.
And then make sure that you save common for view for all users.
Yeah, so it can be definitely less overwhelming than you think. Like I say, tailor it towards the fields that your business needs when collecting the data for a new lead, and then that will display for all your sales guys exactly the same way. If you're, as Damien said, in your common form view.
Yeah. So I've got a question again on leads here. Is it possible to get reports on leads generators, contacts created by users? So you can do that quite simply in the leads module. So it's not great because in this site, this demo site, we log in as John Smith, and so he creates everything. But I'll show you how you would search for John Smith. So we should have a created by. Do we have a created by? Ah, there we go. Yeah. So you've got a responsible person, but that might be not the person that's created it, and might have been assigned on. But you can add in John Smith. Let's put in somebody else. This guy here.
And if you wanted to do the date as well, if you wanted to say like this month, for example, or you can even do a date range, can't you? And that'd be the
yeah. So we can put that in. I can add in, you said users, so I could add in, a group of users here. When I search this, it should come up with nothing. because
if you just take
one of these off and add in John Smith, then we can get a list of these users. So I'm not viewing. Let's tidy this list view up a little bit. Where is created by? Add that field in, and just scroll over to the right to find that field. Created by. Bring it over here a little bit. Then, yeah, I mean, I can select, as we've done in there, a group of users, and then I can see down this list view who's created that, as well as who's responsible for it, because I've got a lead here for an incoming call, doesn't have a responsible person, but does have a responsible person.
I think that's a different, I think that's not,
is that a custom field?
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay. So let's remove that one, and responsible up here is the actual field. So we've created a custom field there, part of the demo. So as well as seeing who's created it, I can see who's now currently responsible for it. This one here is created by John Smith, responsible now is Jim White. So can we get report on leads, generators, contact create? So it's the same thing in contacts, that you can use this filter to create a list.
Yeah, I think you could also do it in the reports, couldn't you? You
Yeah.
could add a new report, associate it to a lead, click on next, and again, pretty much similar, create it on. We could add exactly the same as what Damien did in the filter. We could have, we have created by on here. Yeah, created by. So we could have full name. So let's just have full name in there. Click on add. So John Smith. Yeah. The reporting period is going to be this month, and then we'll just add our created by full name. And then we can add another filter in here.
You've got it editable at the end here. This box ticks by default, so it means in the report users can edit it, can't they? So they can change that John Smith name.
And then you can do a created on, and then we'll leave that blank. So we'll create the report, and then we can specify here on the right hand side of this report. So none have been created this month, but we can change all. You probably want a date range in there actually, rather than just having it equal to. So there's two places you can do the reports. We've got another question just with regards to the telephony. When somebody calls, can you answer it on your mobile? Yeah, you certainly can. So as long as you've got the Bitrix24 mobile application installed, then you have the permissions to accept calls, then yeah, certainly it will ring on your mobile and you can pick it up on your mobile, no problem. But that's iPhone or Android.
Yeah, is it possible to chat with a lead or company representative in the CRM? With a lead, or I don't know what that means. Chat with a lead. I'm not sure what you mean by chat with a lead.
You could chat about a lead, couldn't you?
You can chat with somebody internally here, can't you? This is a new feature to allow you to then.
I think we need to invite somebody.
Oh, yeah. Okay. You can add. So I want to speak to our support manager here, and I can then invite him in and say. And we can chat about this, and that activity then he'll give me some feedback on this, whether this lead is, whether this request is possible, and that activity will save in here. I can open it up again so that you get the history. So you can chat with somebody internal. Yeah, it depends what you mean by chat with a lead, really, I guess. Okay.
Yes, you can only collaborate with them on there. So on the leads, like exactly through this. And it's the most same way with the mobile app again. If you have the mobile app installed, then you'll get a notification, and you'll get a notification on your phone, and you can chat on that particularly on your mobile, can't you?
Yeah, what about you? So how do I invite them in, open channels, works with other social media accounts, and is collaborate with them on their tasks, etc. So you can invite your clients in. You can invite your client in as an extranet user, and you can chat with them then inside a work group. Should we have a look at how we create a sort of extranet work group? And then you can't actually chat. You can't actually give an extranet user access to any part of the CRM. So you couldn't have that chat widget open to them on the lead. But you can create a work group and invite your extranet users in, and then they'll have their own work group. You can create tasks or just chat with them using the chat widget.
Yeah, so you just need to click on external work group or external project, click on the external users here, invite your external user into the work group, click on create, just need to add a topic. And then when we created that, it actually added a chat here. So our external user will get an email, and they will just click on the email, they will log in to the extranet, so they will log in via our extranet here, and then they will be able to chat with the people that are in this particular work group in here.
You get an unlimited number of extranet users. There's no charge for those on your license.
Yeah, so I think you do need a paid license, don't you, to have the extranet on the self-hosted. The good thing about the extranet is you can style it, customize it a little bit more, so you can push out maybe adverts on the extranet to your clients when they log in, and we can customize the left-hand menu here. So your extranet user will see the groups that they're involved in and be able to interact on tasks and chat when they're in there.
Okay, how to configure a web cluster in Bitrix. So web cluster is a feature of the self-hosted enterprise edition. So to get web cluster, you have to have the top edition of Bitrix. I think that starts from about $40,000. So it depends what you mean or what you want to use the web cluster feature for. Essentially allows you to, with the self-hosted product, you obviously host it on the server of your choosing, whether that's an in-house server you have or a web server or some space on Amazon or something. With the web cluster feature, it allows you to then host in more than one location, so you could have you could split that hosting between a server in the UK and one in Australia, allow you to then to improve the speed of accessing the data from those two different locations. So it's really a tool which is used if you have users who are based globally in order to speed up access. There's 2 points I think on that. We don't think that you can access a server from the UK if you're in Australia very, very quickly. There isn't really a delay, so you should probably test the standard functionality without web cluster. It is also possible, potentially, if you've got a self-hosted edition, to create that kind of environment anyway on any self-hosted license. So it depends what you really want to use the web cluster for. So standard feature, but it is possible to create similar sort of functionality based on the server side, so how you create the server environment. So it might be you can do it with a standard business self-hosted edition. So if you want to send us over the reason why you want that, you could probably look into it. So should we put our contact details up? Let us know your contact details and follow it. There's our contact details. Follow us on YouTube, and you'll receive a notification. Or follow ourselves and follow Bitrix24. We run these on Bitrix24 YouTube channel. So if you actually follow them on YouTube, so at Bitrix24, then you'll receive notifications when we do live sessions, but also follow Interface on YouTube as well. Okay, see if we've got any more questions.
So you've got, you're new to Bitrix, want to switch from Zoho. How do you set up a user to only view leads they've generated or have been assigned to them? So in the CRM, if we go into our CRM, so what Damien was mentioning earlier with regards to somebody being responsible for a particular lead. So you can see here, Jim White is responsible for this one, John Smith is responsible for this one. And what you're wanting to do is actually Jim White would only see this particular lead because he's responsible for it. Now Bitrix has some really powerful permissions in the CRM. So if you click into the settings, CRM settings, and then click into permissions, and then click into access permissions. Then the first thing that you would need to do, we've got quite a lot in here on our demonstration site. The first thing that you would need to do is click on add a new role. So we click on add. And if we call this, let's call this the lead generators. So we've called this role the lead generators. And at the moment, what we have the permission to restrict and allow is the permission to view all CR elements here. So in our case, we're going to focus on the lead. So we can view the lead, we can add, edit, delete, export and import. And based on that, what we want to do is, on your question with regards to only being seeing the ones that are assigned to them, is you can see read here. If we click on the access denied link here, and we have a number of different settings really. So the one that you would need to select is personal. And what that essentially means is that they will only be able to see the leads that have been assigned to them. So they wouldn't be able to see anybody else's in the business.
You can actually expand, did we look at that? You can actually expand this as well, can't we?
Yeah, so if you wanted your sales guys only to see maybe the first 4 stages, then you could click on personal, and then deny access to anything that passes a certain stage. So
once they've been qualified or lost or something like that, maybe you want to lock it down.
Yeah, certainly. So at the moment we've got personal, so you can see their own. One of the common ones that we come across is if we go into employees tab here and have a look at the company structure. So you would need to set your company structure up before we look at this role, but essentially what we can do is we can restrict access to leads based on a department that you're in. So I would only be able to see the leads of these 4, well, if I was Dev White, these 3 individuals and myself. I wouldn't be able to see the US sales in that case. And that's what this is referring to. If we click on personal and department. So I would only be able to see the leads that are in my department. If I was a manager and I was at the top of the company structure here, so US sales, I would also be able to see my sub-departments, purchasing and directors here. So that is basically what personal, department and sub-departments are referring to. All open is, in this case, all leads that are still in progress, so they're not closed and won or not closed and lost. And then finally we have all, so you'll be able to see everything that's in the leads section.
Yeah, so if we just scroll to the top, then so that's read, and we've got these different access levels. Ability to be able to add new leads or deals or whatever, whichever. Update, edit, delete. This sort of export is usually quite key for some businesses. They want to restrict exporting large volumes of data. If we just,
I'm just going to finish this part off. Just to say, once you've set this role, so you would go through each one of your CRM items and set those permissions, click on save, and then what we can do is simply apply it to individuals, apply that role to departments. So you could apply that role to your, click on your department here, select from structure, and I can just say all UK sales department. Click on select, and then you can see here we'll be able to select the role that we've just created, lead generators, click on save. Now there's one important thing to notice on this is scroll up, and you can, if you're an admin, then you would always take the higher permission on that particular
yeah, you need to be aware that, I mean, on this demo site we've created quite a few different roles, and you need to be, obviously don't want to overcomplicate it. You know, you're going to get the highest role, so you might think you've defined a role for somebody, but you check that they're not in another, somehow accessing another role as well. I just wanted to go into this a little quickly and just explain this, because we probably didn't. So I'm going to expand this lead section. You've got different sections within the lead, and you can change, as we said, the access permission based on these. These are actually stages of, in this case, the lead. So if we just go into our CRM, we'll show you stages. So these are the stages here. So based on when as the lead is progressed, and whether it's converted or junked there, then the role or the permission is can be changed. You can easily change these stages in the settings. So a quick look, statuses and drop downs, and lead statuses here. So you can have rename the initial stage or status, add additional statuses that in the beginning. You can add new ones here, or rename these. You can change the colour on these. It's pretty good to have these all in different colours, so you can see clearly which stage you're at. And then you can actually have more than one lost stage. Essentially, you might have different reasons why you've lost an opportunity. It might be that they're not right for you, and you want to just record that they weren't right, wasn't a good fit for your business. It might be that they went to a competitor, and so you might want to just record those different stages. Yeah, so I can, as a user, I can select from there, and you can add those stages or statuses into this section here. Same thing you can do with deals. So, and within deals, just a quick. If you look down the left-hand side within deals, we have different deal pipelines. So look in deals what sort of pipelines we've got. So if you go up here, you can see how many different pipelines we've got. A lot of different pipelines in this demo site. So each pipeline will have its own set of stages, and then also its own set of permissions. So you can have different permissions for different pipelines. It might be that actually, we use the example of a property business that does sales and lettings, and they're different teams. So the sales teams might have a pipeline for themselves, and the lettings will have their own pipeline. You can actually give different permissions based on those different pipelines. Each pipeline will have different stages, but you can also have different permissions, so different people can access those.
I think that's it, isn't it? For the person that asked earlier just about the overwhelming leads, I think once you've qualified that lead, the best thing about it is that you can drop it in straight into a pipeline. So we, again, going back to the leads aspect of it, is we would get a lead in, go through these series of stages, and when we actually complete it, so let's just move this one into a deal. What it's going to ask me is, what pipeline do I want to drop this qualified lead into? And you can see we have, like Damien said, we have a number in here, but you can segment it into the people that are responsible for working on these types of opportunities based on the permissions where we've just been. So if I click into here, it's going to drop straight into the Bitrix24 add-on opportunities pipeline. And just to reiterate the point, as Damien mentioned, is that if we're in the Bitrix24 add-on pipeline, you can see the one I've just converted. It does have different stages to, let's see, if I jumped into the on-premise, so it's got 3 stages in the on-premise pipeline. But more importantly, not only does it have different stages, it has different automation rules. So in the on-premise opportunities pipeline, we have this set of automation rules. If I go into the back into the Bitrix24 add-on, we have a complete different set of automation rules. So you can really tailor it to each pipeline.
Yeah. Okay, just put our contact details up there again. Let's have some questions for the last 10 minutes. Okay, let's, if we've not got any more questions. Can we just have a quick look at, we had a question earlier that was referring to documents, I think, or being able to create custom PDF documents. We should have a quick look at that. So again, we're staying in the CRM, but if I go into quotes, it is possible now to create a whole series of different documents from a quote record. So this is what it looks like on the screen, but I can generate different documents. It might be that you just want to generate a kind of typical quote with a logo and address and this sort of information on there. Might be actually you want to generate more of a presentation document with a cover sheet, terms and conditions. You can do that. You can create those templates now inside Bitrix. If I go to my documents section here, if I go to add new template, I can see the documents that exist. I can download those. It'll download it as a Word document, and I can then just edit that document and re-upload it, give it a different name, and then it becomes a different template that I can use. So you can see that you use these to reference the different fields that exist within a quote. But you can just pull information in from any document, can't you? It doesn't have to be from a quote field. You can pull the information in from the associated company field and contact field. And yeah, we're looking in here, we can get all the fields that are available, you know, to add to this document. So
yeah, that's it. So if, for example, you're generating a quote and you have a company name, I think we'll have this. You can see here, we can, if a company is associated to this particular quote, we can pull in the company name here. So company title, click on copy. And essentially, if we open up our Microsoft Word, you can see here we might want to put the company name at the top. So if we press delete and then simple paste it in, give it the same style and font. But you can see that's essentially all that it's doing. So if I save that now and was to re-upload it into Bitrix, click on upload here, essentially when I generate that document, it's going to pull in the company name that's associated against it. And these documents aren't just for quote and invoice templates. You can generate contracts, you can generate proposals, that they're available in, for example, it's good to generate a proposal in a deal. So if you clicked into the application and then document up here, we can generate a proposal from this point as well, pulling in all the information from this. So it's quite a handy thing to have.
Okay, can I set up multiple companies and assign certain users to a certain company? So depends what you mean by if you want, if you have multiple businesses that you're involved with and you want to establish those in, you know, run those in Bitrix, then you can create multiple instances of Bitrix if you have the Enterprise Edition, which is a self-hosted edition. Yeah, I mean, it really, if you want to do it on the cloud, maybe you would use work groups to create different groups of different companies.
No, I think that's the same to do with the same person who asked their permissions.
Oh, right, okay. Oh, is it to do with companies in the CRM?
Yeah, so pretty much like we set the role up for the leads.
Oh, right, okay, yes.
You would set the role up for the companies as well. If you want, the only problem is if you want certain users, so if you want multiple users to be able to see this, you can create a custom field for a second responsible person, but the permissions are only focused around the main responsible person field. So if you want multiple users to see the same company, then they're going to have to be based in the same department. And then that would mean that everybody in that department can see the same companies. It's exactly the same structure as you would see it in a lead.
Yeah, okay. If
So-
I've not, sorry.
I'd just say multiple lines of business. You would have to create in your company structure your companies in your departments, and that's how essentially you would break your CRM up.
Mm-hmm. Okay, question on telephony. If I have not purchased a number through telephony services and I am only calling out with my own number, will I see the incoming call through the app? So let's just go to telephony. If you're calling out on your own number, not a Bitrix number, if we have a look into rented numbers in here, then you can see that we've got a number rented here, but I can rent another number. You can then publicise that number, but you probably have a number already that you publish, or almost definitely, and you probably want to continue to do that. What you can do in order to receive those calls inside Bitrix from your existing number, you can either forward that to your rented number here, or you can do an integration through one of the apps which will integrate your existing number with the Bitrix telephony. In terms of the question about will I see the incoming call through the app? You won't unless you forward those calls or integrate that telephone number with your existing. You can call out from the system and it will display your other number if you connect your number here. So if I click on connect, we've connected our telephone number here, and that's it. I mean, I think it essentially all it does is send you a notification every 3 months, I think, saying, is this your real number? It calls that number and checks that that's the real number. So number is not verified. Confirm the number. Re-enter number. So we're on a demo site. We don't need to do that, but you can verify that number. I think you say you have to do it every 3 months, and that would display that number when you're calling out from Bitrix. But yeah, you're going to need to rent a number and either forward your existing number to the Bitrix number, or you're going to need to do the integration on that.
I think with the sound quality, you've got a question, what can I do to get better sound quality?
No. I think if you have some poor sound quality, then maybe just raise a ticket with Bitrix, because that's something they should be able to fix. I mean, it could be, of course, we're calling over the internet. Could be, check is not obviously check's not down to the internet speed you've got. But yeah, I mean, VoIP is catching up on traditional phone service in terms of quality, but there's a few things that have to be working correctly for it to work well, and depends on whether you've got an integration and things like that. So yeah, but obviously heavily depends on your internet speed.
How do I disable the help button as red numbers? So I think if you've got the free version, it's not going to be possible to. I think you're referring to this one up here for the help, because it does pop up with red numbers up at the top. You're not going to be able to disable that on the free version. You think you're going to need, if you wanted to disable it, you would have to go to the on-premise, I would imagine, to be able to disable it.
Yeah, and do we get that on the paid cloud accounts? Do we?
Yeah.
We're talking about this one. Yeah, I mean, it gives you notifications on. It doesn't do anything other than it just sits there, doesn't it? I think sometimes you get adverts occasionally, don't you? Just demonstrating new features.
I think it is a handy place for new people for using Bitrix, because it gives you tutorials on how to use it. It depends if you're wanting to white label it. If you wanted to white label it, then
yeah, but with the self-hosted, this is the self-hosted version. You can see we've got an admin bar across the top, which is feature of self-hosted. If I drop that section down, I've got a load of tools that allow me to edit pages here. So you could edit this page, remove this, essentially remove that item if you wanted to remove that on the self-hosted if it was important to you. You can get a self-hosted package, generally a little bit more expensive than the cloud, but not necessarily depending on the number of users.
On the website, can you create a hidden web page? So if you're referring to the Bitrix site, you can create hidden pages, as Damien's just explained, in the on-premise version. So you can create multiple custom pages. We have some already set up in our services section here. So we've created for example, Bitrix24 Live. If you wanted it hidden, then you wouldn't have it in the menu item, obviously. But yeah, on the on-premise you can. On the cloud, you wouldn't be able to. So that's one version. That's one reason why the on-premise version is a powerful tool. You can create as many pages as you want, PHP pages, so they can be dynamic. You can create your own modules for them. So,
okay.
Yeah, I think we're coming to an end. Our contact details are on the screen. I think, like we said at the start, our session's on a Thursday at 10 AM Eastern time every Thursday. And if you do have any questions that pop up in the week, send them to live@intraface.com, and we can start the next session next week off with those questions.
Yeah, okay, thanks. Bye for now. See you next time.
Thank you.